Welcome to the Pride of Detroit POD cast. We haven't done an emergency podcast in a very long time, and now here we are. Our first emergency podcast as day one of the tampering period. Excuse me, I've got hiccups on top of it. I'm so excited. Day one of the tampering period is about done, and the floodgates open on free agency, and I might need a second, actually. Hold on.
You want me to just take over? I can take over.
No, because this is going to keep happening if I just... Let me get some water real quick, and then we'll hit the record again. Oh, my God. I will not stop. I'm going to pterodactyl. Holy God.
Well, this is going to make for a great YouTube video.
Oh, my God.
That people can watch. This is a first. In 10 years, this is a first.
There's no water in this.
10 years of podcasting. I don't think this has ever happened. Did you moldy core, Bren? Good for you. We talked about Reed a little bit yesterday, and I was just like, why sign Reed when you have Carlton Davis at home?
Okay.
But little did I know the price was going to be significantly different.
What happened?
Oh, nothing.
I am, wow.
Are we going to be good? How quickly can you get rid of hiccups? I have no, hiccup remedy.
I just need it to not happen while I'm working. I just pinch my nose and kind of... Wow. No, I'm not hiccuping again. Don't do that, guys.
Okay. All right.
This is already clipped very hard, I'm sure.
Do we need to do this to just, make it... I'll fade in again? Just
no,
for the
no.
aesthetics
Just give me
of
a few seconds. Just give me a few seconds.
All right, give me a finger countdown because I'm gonna fade you in anyways. Not the music. We're just gonna have the title screen up.
Touchdown, Detroit Lions! How about that?
Welcome to the Pride of Detroit POD cast. Hey, we haven't done this in a while. Emergency podcast coming to you after basically the eve of day one of the tampering period as the sun sets in the east and the first day of free agency. Not the real first day of free agency, but we know how this calendar works. This is always more of a tortured calendar than ever is done. A huge amount of deals happened today, and the Detroit Lions made one of them. And we're going to talk about that one. And we're going to talk about maybe some fan concerns about, hey, why aren't you trying to win in March? You know the old adage about that, though, don't you? Mm-hmm. I'm Chris Perfett, the adequate host at Chris Perfett on Twitter, at Perfett on Blue Sky, which was not down at all today. Jeremy Reisman, the fearless leader at Detroit on Lion. Let's talk, Jeremy. Let's talk about DJ Reed. DJ Reed. I have to stop it a little early.
Not Reader.
DJ Reed.
Yes.
So this is going to be tough. We got two DJ Reed, one with an one with an A, and one with dots on DJ, and the other without.
That's right. I think.
You think this is going to be tough? You think this is going to be tough for Dan Campbell?
It's funny because I don't know if DJ Reed has periods in between his D and the J. In fact, his Twitter account doesn't. So maybe they're both just non-period DJs, which is fine.
Oh, I thought you had said earlier in the Slack that one had...
I jumped to conclusions.
Oh, wow. Okay. Now you're being adequate.
That's right.
How dare you? That's my territory. Let's start. We're going to start by talking about DJ Reed. And I think by way of that, also talk about the departure of Carlton Davis, which came slightly before, I think just literally a couple minutes before the DJ Reed news hit. So let's set the stage at least. Carlton Davis agreed to a 3-year deal with the New England Patriots. If you had listened to the Pride of Detroit PODcast, we had talked about a little bit from the Mike Silver Athletic article about how Carlton Davis didn't sound like he was going to be back in Detroit, that he was banking on a very big payday. And boy, did he get it. 3 years, $60 million to the New England Patriots, $34.5 million in guaranteed money. And I sat there being like, wow, okay. I was expecting around 15 for Carlton Davis, and here comes a $20 million AAV out of the blue. And then just what we have a couple minutes later, Jeremy?
We got ourselves a DJ Reed for a 3-year, $48 million deal, $32 million guaranteed. Now, I want to jump in here real quick before we get to wow, the Lions fleeced this. First of all, there's kind of conflicting reports on Carlton Davis's deal, right? Like, didn't Silver say it was actually more like an $18 million a year deal with up to $20 million in incentives? Plus, another way to look at these contracts before we see that they're broken down is to focus on the guaranteed money. And how much was Carlton Davis's guaranteed money?
34.5, which is about, I think that's like what? So DJ Reed comes in, what'd you say, 32 million
32.
guaranteed?
Yeah.
Okay,
it's not
same
a
ballpark.
Huge difference. It is less than, though, which is a little bit surprising to me. I thought DJ Reed was going to get a little bit more than Carlton. So, I don't know, like it was a very interesting, 15 minutes of like, wow, they really weren't able to bring Carlton Davis back, and he got the bank, and then, okay, the Lions were willing to spend some money at corner, which is kind of what we expected, right? Like I said yesterday that I think the Lions should spend up to $15 million on Carlton Davis. Like that to me made sense. They spend a little bit more on Reed. That's okay with me.
I think that's warranted given the profile of Reed, right? Like, we're talking about a guy who, and again, if you believe in Pro Football Focus, I believe they had them listed as the number one CB or even DB of this free agency period. A man who is eminently I don't remember the number of his man coverage snap counts, but I was just watching some tape of him playing man coverage, how he's directly on the receiver, and I think that fits what, he does it very well with the Detroit in man coverage. And there's a lot of talk about how last year, in some ways, he outperformed Sauce Gardner as among the cornerbacks for the New York Jets, which is very, very eye-popping considering Sauce's, pedigree so far in the league.
Yeah, there are a couple of misconceptions I've already seen about DJ Reed's time in New York, and one of it is just that he didn't play a lot of man, which he kind of did.
He did. He absolutely did.
And
it was only I think it came out to like 31% of snaps, so maybe that's where it's coming from.
Right, but
like if you watch those snaps,
an average amount, and I broke it down. I watched 3 games of his today from weeks 4 to 6 because it had 2 of his best games and 1 of his worst games, and I wanted to see him at his best and at his worst. And he played a ton of man during that. In fact, I looked from week 1 to week 8. He was top 25 in man rate. The Jets just kind of changed strategy down the stretch, and I can't tell you why they were doing that, but I can tell you that DJ
probably
Reed
because
is a good man coverage cornerback. He can do it. And the other misconception is like, oh, well, when you have Sauce Gardner on one side of the field, you're going to look a lot better. That is like Sauce Gardner's locking down the 1, you have to face the 2. That's not how the Jets utilized them. They had Reed on the right side, like 80 to 90% of the time. They played sides, so it wasn't, you didn't
like the
have
Lions
Sauce
do,
Gardner.
right.
Yeah, they didn't have Sauce Gardner traveling with the one receiver, and so that's why when I watched him against the Vikings, which was one of his better games, which should, hey, played well against the Vikings. That's a good sign. You're going to have to play those guys twice, and maybe for the division title. Absolutely locked down Jordan Addison, and was pretty darn good against Justin Jefferson, too. He got called for a couple pass interference penalties, but didn't allow a reception to Justin Jefferson. So I think he's a better fit for what the Lions do than I even originally thought when I kind of did a little, surface overlook of his game. And yeah, again, like I am surprised that he came in a little bit less than Carlton because Carlton has some durability issues. Carlton, I think he just in general doesn't have the pedigree that Reed has. I understand that Reed, his career took a little bit of a different trajectory, right? He didn't make it in San Francisco. He's playing safety and nickel there.
5th round pick. He's played for 3 different teams in his career so far. Yeah.
Right.
He's kind of been in and out of the 49 with 2 years with the 49ers before they get rid of him to the Seahawks. Then he's, 2 years in the Jets.
Right.
But I think to your point, like again, if you want to follow the Pro Football reference numbers, Pro Football Focus numbers, ranked top 30 in DBs over the past 3 seasons.
Yeah.
So like that, the performance has been there, but maybe not the pedigree.
Right. Yeah. And I think part of that is just like there's a little bit of a perception of how his career started. He was a bust in San Francisco. Granted, he's a 5th round pick, so bust is whatever. He finds his footing as an outside corner in Seattle and then parlays that in a pretty big contract with the Jets. And one of the fun things I like to do at every free agency period when the Lions sign a new guy is just look at what Jets fans are saying. It was kind of hard today because Twitter was down most of the day, but looking at what Jets fans were saying, they're like, this dude is a dog. We're going to miss him. And this is Jets fans we're talking about, like scum of the earth sometimes. And when they're saying like, oh man, we missed out on that, we weren't able to retain that guy, that's a bummer. The one thing I will say is size, right? The size thing is the one that I think might stand out to people. He has a little meek in him where he's a little bit of a dog. He'll be physical at times. But what I saw from the Jets last year was they weren't playing that game with him. Like he wasn't that involved in the run game plan. He was mostly like on the other hash when it came to where the ball was and where he was. And there was some tackling issues. But I know from his history, I know from even going back to his college days, he's got some of that dog in him. You can't play nickel without getting your nose dirty a little bit. And so he can do that. He just didn't do it a lot, at least in 2024 with the Jets, which makes me believe he might be a little bit rusty when it comes to that because the Lions are going to make him play a little bit more in the box. They are going to make him be part of the run defense. They are going to make him tackle a little bit, maybe even blitz him a little bit, which is something he didn't do much with the Jets. So that part of his game might not be a one-to-one fit in the way that Carlton Davis's was. But in terms of coverage, he was as close to as a lockdown when it came to deep shots, which is something that's very exciting to me because the Packers like to take deep shots. The Vikings like to take deep shots, and we'll see what the Bears decide to do with their newborn offense here. But I don't think the Lions are going to give up a lot of big plays outside of maybe some more pass interference because he's a little grabby.
I did see a couple people wondering about, because I know he's had a couple games where a certain receiver would burn him now and then, but like I'm telling you, man, I watch them at tape right now, and like he's got one hell of a kick step and can be just directly on a receiver and just drape all over him and just prevent anything. I mean, and again, especially and even in kind of the mid-range game too, just knows exactly where a receiver is going to go and just gets right there to break, and not going to get you a ton of interceptions, but will absolutely just pass break up like a monster.
Yeah, I mean, and listen, the way the Lions play, the interceptions go to the safeties, right? You're playing,
sure,
you're
yeah, you're wanting for Kirby to
corner,
to
all
jump.
the man coverage things. You're not able to watch the quarterback and predict and react like that in high man coverage schemes. So like you aren't going to see a lot of high interception numbers for anyone that runs through this defense at corner, which is fine. If you can funnel that ball towards the safeties, you've done your job. But yeah, I'm with you. Like he can press, he can play off, he can play zone, and listen, like we keep hyper focusing on like the Lions need a man coverage corner. The Lions play man coverage like 45% of the time. That's very high,
sure,
but you still need someone who can play zone the other 50% of the time, right? So that is something that he's also very good at. The way he can pass along receivers to different zones and recognize when someone's coming from an opposite zone into his zone. That was something that popped off on the tape for me too. So as a coverage corner, I think this guy is well-rounded. I think he's accomplished. I think he's athletic enough to keep up with some of the best athletes in football. And if you can stomach a little bit more pass interferences, maybe, which is again maybe something that you're just going to have to deal with in today's NFL anyways. But I think you'll take the guy that gets a little handsy but is almost always in position over the guy that just like easily gets burned all the time, right? It's almost like,
yeah,
would you rather take Terrion Arnold or Amani Oruwariye? Like
I like this a lot. I like this move a lot. Like if I'm going to do a grade on it, and I hate to do A, but like this is an A. This is a guy who is in his prime. This is a guy who has, he's gone through quite a bit for his career, but he's always had to fight and scrap. He has that toughness. He has that mentality to him. We talked about the contract versus someone like Carlton Davis, and I think like several other corners also got close to. I think Charvarius Ward got close to $20 million a year.
Yep.
Yeah, like that was the Lions got in quick
Adebo
on the CB market. Yeah,
3
like
years,
they got
54.
in quick on the CB market and they didn't blink and somehow were able to save money versus where the market was going for a lot of other guys. And they got a guy who was, according to several outlets, the top CB on the market, who plays a lot of the same football that they like to play, has the mentality to be a Detroit Lion, and seems like he'll fit in here extremely well and will play very well opposite of Terry and Arnold. I like the fits here, the values here, and the schematic is here and the talent is here. I think this was a knockout move for the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, and honestly, and it's one I just didn't consider enough when looking at it. I'm just like, well, he's the number one, in my opinion, and a lot of other people's opinion, the number one cornerback in this year's free agency class. I thought it was Carlton Davis, or you go kind of a low ender deal, and they managed to get a very talented guy at a reasonable deal, a reasonable free agency deal. Like everything in free agency feels unreasonable, but this was on the lower end of that spectrum. So the more and more I dug into this one, the more happy I got about it. It's not, and again, it kind of fits what the Lions do in free agency.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is as splashy as it gets. Is a 3-year deal for $16 million a year, whatever it is. I'm sure when we look at the full details of it, it's probably going to operate very much like a 2-year deal. Like they can probably get out of it after 1 year.
Probably get out in the 3rd year, sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So that would make it, I don't know, basically a 2-year. What did I say?
So do you think they wanted
$16 million deal? Like that's all this could end up being. Which, again, like you're out of it in 2 years if you don't like it, and you move on, and that's fine. That's the way you don't get yourself into these humongous dead cap situations. Where you have to cut bait on a contract, which is why I'm not like freaking out either that the Lions haven't gotten involved in the defensive line group, because if you saw like,
hold on, we got to get to that. We're going to get to that in a second. So hold the horses there.
You're not ready to transition to that.
Let me ask you one thing before we do that. Yes, please. With how fast they moved on Reed.
Yeah.
With how fast they moved on Reed after Davis signed with New England. There's 2 ways to read it. Number one, this is just coincidence of timing. Everyone's trying to get the deals out as quick as they can. They were always going to move on from Carlton Davis. Or 2, they saw Carlton Davis move and then just pulled the trigger immediately with Reed as like kind of like they had this plan in place, but they weren't going to pull it if they could get CD back.
I'm glad you brought this up, because to me, it very much looked intentional to me. And even Mike Silver said like the Lions tried to make a late rush to get Carlton back, right? So to me, it was like, this is our plan A. I think Carlton Davis was probably still their plan A. Let's move on let's not waste any time and get to our plan B. And I'm not the first person to point this out. It feels very, very reminiscent of the Jamal Williams, Dave Montgomery moment, where it was like Jamal Williams was gone. They immediately pivoted to Dave Montgomery. And it's not, an apples to apples comparison, because, Dave Montgomery ended up getting more money than Jamal Williams. Davis got more money than Reed. But to me, it shows that the Lions are doing their due diligence when it comes to having your contingency plans in place. This is our target. If we don't get him, we're going for him. And I like that about
them. Still a priority to re-sign their own guys.
Yes.
That's ultimately what it comes down to, and that's just going to be the MO of the Detroit Lions, how they run the organization, and how Brad Holmes runs the front office.
Yeah,
but that's part of the culture too. Like that's something like I know some fans might rail about that. Should be you should only go on for the top guys. Who cares? He wants to leave, but no, this is like. This is doing polite business. This is doing honorable business. In its own way.
And a lot of times,
and I think that means a lot to players. I do think that means a lot. That sends a message to players as well, that you are conducting business in this fashion.
And it's not uncommon for the Lions to be so inactive early in free agency either, because one common tactic they've used, and they've said this before, and the players have said this before, which is, here's what we think you're worth, but if you want to go try to get more money out there, go try. We don't want to stand in the way of you getting your best deal out there, but let us know what that deal is. Come back to us, and we'll say if we want to match that, or if you don't find what you want, we're here. And I think Brad Holmes has done a pretty good job thus far of setting limits, right? We're not going to pass this number, and if even though we really like this guy, like Jamal Williams, like Carlton Davis, we're not going to pass this number because they are not the only guy out there. We're willing to move to plan Bs if we can. It sure worked out in their favor with Dave Montgomery. We'll see if it does. I can't imagine it'll work out that good with DJ Reed because I think Carlton Davis is going to go on and have a pretty darn good career, continue to have a good career. I should
well,
say.
the Patriots have certainly been extremely active today in free agency because they've got a lot of work to do. And I mean, maybe that we might see them taking another Lion, considering, I believe, so Carlton Davis, I believe, has a connection to someone, I don't remember the name off the top of my head, on the Patriots coaching staff right now under Mike Vrabel. I think it's something Williams.
Oh, Terrell Williams, yeah.
Terrell Williams, like he's got a connection with them. Whereas, and I believe that same connection would be with Levi Onwuzurike if they pulled him away from the Detroit Lions. But I think that kind of dovetails into the next question, because there is plenty of fans out here, and I've definitely had some Lions fans with this attitude about why aren't the Lions doing more in free agency? And if I may take the first crack at this.
Sure.
First off, it's only the first day. We've only had the first wave of a lot of free agents. This seems like it happens every year. But, and I understand, I think a lot of this is driven that, once again, who's one of the big actors right now in the first few hours of free agency, Jeremy? The Chicago Bears. Spending money nonstop, spending money on a center who's mostly there to play outside zone and can't actually pass protect, and overspending quite well on him, if I may say so myself. But I would have thought, okay, sorry, this is me doing the national NFL guy for a second, but we have this old saying about winning the league in March versus winning the league in January or February. And we've seen this early, especially on the D-line market. Getting in this quickly, it's kind of we talk about this with market setting a lot of times, but man, holy God, the defensive line market got set extremely high. I had penned in guys like Josh Sweat and several other guys, and I was watching them go. Not a single one, I think, sign for anything less than maybe $16 million a year average. Today. So that first wave, however, it's a lot of names is what goes out in the first wave, but it doesn't always work out for a lot of guys in free agency. And I think a lot of the times it's throwing money around for the sake of throwing money around. But I get it. It's the big names falling off the board, right? And that scares a lot of fans, especially considering that the Lions also cut Zadarius Smith. And so far, all they've really done is re-sign Marcus Davenport. There's real questions if it'll be Levi Onwuzurike back. But patience? Am I allowed to talk patience, or am I going to get told that I've waited 30 years to see the Detroit Lions win a Super Bowl? I'm allowed to not be patient. Am I going to get that? Am I going to get that every time we have to have a conversation about what is logical and reasonable for a team to do? You shouldn't be trying to win free agency like this. And I'm not saying they're not going to make big moves or that it's holy and righteous that you only don't make moves, but it's only the first 24-hour period. I'm not panicking right now watching, if I'm going to use my fan brain, which is bisected from my opinion brain, I'm not going to panic right away on top of all of this. And I think at this point, just cool, there's a lot of other guys in the market. You let some other teams overspend right now, see how the chips fall out. It's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world. And I don't have anything to help you if you just think Brad Holmes is sitting on his haunches.
If you're going to complain that the Lions haven't signed an external free agent at defensive line, you have to point me to a contract that you would have been willing to sign today. Because none of them. I didn't see a single defensive line contract where I'm like, yeah, that would have worked for the Lions.
It's eye-popping numbers. Eye-popping numbers.
That's what free agency is. And I don't know how many times we have to tell you this, guys. Aleem McNeil and Aiden Hutchinson are going to, if not already, Aleem McNeil already gets paid like a top 10 defensive tackle. Aiden Hutchinson is going to get paid like a top 5 edge defender. They don't have room to sign Josh Sweat to a 4-year, $76.4 million deal. They don't really even have room to sign Khalil Mack to a 1-year, $18 million deal.
Milton Williams got something like 4 years, $104 million. Javon Kinlaw, who I was like, maybe that is like a value pickup, got like $45 million for 3 years.
Yes.
Like this is like it's the first wave of free agency is always vastly overpriced.
Grady Jarrett,
And look
3
at
years,
look
40.
at
Like they point to a contract where you think the Lions could maintain it because they can't, like there aren't any of those big name ones, and there's still plenty of guys out there. Like I know y'all want the big names, and listen, Von Miller's still out there, Joey Bosa is still out there, DeMarcus Lawrence is still out there, Matthew Judon is still out there, Dante Fowler is still out there, Preston Smith is still out there, Josh Uche is still out there. Like there are guys that can still play this game. Maybe they aren't top tier guys, but if you thought the Lions were going to have top tier guys on both edges, show me any team that's built like that. Like it's very, very rare.
It's very
and when
hard.
you have it, it's fleeting, right? You maybe had that with the Eagles this year. Look at the Eagles defense now. It got picked apart like
Milton
crazy
Williams
today.
and Josh Sweat are both gone.
Right.
Yeah. I feel like we do this all the time. And I like, look at the teams who are out here up in front to the front of the line of free agency: Bears, Commanders, New England. Those are teams who are like desperate to rebuild right now, had a whole lot of cap space and just a directive to burn it right away. Or in the case of the Commanders, caught fire in a bottle and feel like their time is now and damn the future.
Rookie quarterback contract certainly helps a lot with
I
Washington.
know. Yeah, especially the end of the rookie of the year. Like those are all teams that do this every year, and we see them back here. We're going to see them back here again another 3 years. Like sometimes it pays to be a little bit patient. Sometimes it pays not to go over to the biggest names, and I know you want the biggest names, but like I'm sorry, like this. I think I think we talked about this last time, Jeremy. I think it is the absence of Aiden Hutchinson that has made people believe the Lions need to make a huge splash. But what they need is dependable guys who can cover a lot of different roles on the defense and be productive day in and day out in multiple roles.
Yeah. If there is one spot I am concerned about, it remains defensive tackle over edge.
Sure.
Because one, I thought the free agency market sucked at defensive tackle. It continues to suck. If the Lions somehow are going to be able to bring back Levi, and again, I still have no idea where that kid's market is at, but there hasn't been a single rumbling about it. If they can get him at a $7 to $8 million deal, I say do it. If it's going to cost you 12 to 15, I think you have to get out of there. But I think what's also like causing a lot of Lions fans distress is they haven't re-signed a lot of their own guys, right? Like Zeitler's
Correct.
still out there. Tim Patrick is still out there. We're kind of just waiting for all those dominoes to fall. But again, like I think this all probably falls under the category of Lions said, "Hey, we know we want you back at. If you want to go test and see what you can get. But please come back to us and let us know." They're just operating at a slower rate, and none of these guys are gone. Like that's the other thing. Lions fans seem particularly down right now. The only real loss that they've had, because you could just Carlton Davis got replaced by DJ Reed. We're good there. The only other loss that they have is the two guys they cut, right? Zadarius Smith and linebacker Jalen Reeves-Maven.
And I think there's still a chance. Like I think we had brought up the specter that they could still be trying to work on a new deal for Zadarius Smith.
I'm
giving that a 10%.
But anytime a guy puts out on Instagram, "Thank you, Detroit,"
That does seem final.
I don't think they're coming back. But like,
Yeah.
that's another way to look at it through one day is the Lions have only lost one thing. And I'm not saying that the Lions are going to have a net negative this offseason or necessarily net positive. We don't really know. But to like be acting like the sky is falling when this 15-2 team has lost one guy who played half a season for Detroit, pump the brakes a little bit. We're okay. Nothing is, the sky has not fallen yet.
So Jeremy's saying that if they don't get Joey Bosa, it's over.
We've already planted our flag with Von Miller. All right.
Yeah, planting it with Von Miller, and when that doesn't happen, I'm going to go straight to Matt Judon. We didn't even bring up on the POD cast. Speaking of that, is there any other big names to keep an eye on as we move into day two, or is this probably going to be as outdated as some of our predictions that we made on POD?
I'm not making any day two predictions. And you know, most of my guys are still out there. I was wrong on the corner. Like I knew they were going to go big on cornerback. It made sense for them to go big on cornerback. I just picked the wrong one.
Sure. All right. Well, we've gone long on what's supposed to be a mini podcast. We'll stay in chat on twitch.tv/Pride Detroit, on youtube.com/@Pride Detroit for a while. But for the podcast audience, this is where it ends. Might be another one here in the next couple of days if there is another big signing. But we'll let you know. And until then, I'm Chris Perfett. That's Jeremy Reisman. We'll see you Starside.
Recording stopped.
Okay. Hi,
Damn,
chat.
Kyle Juszczyk is getting released. Juice? You doing that? Wow, the 49ers are really
the
dying.
most fashionable free agent on the market.
See if we were 49ers fans, there would be legit panic because that team has lost like 6 guys already.
Yeah, and I think that's just going to be their fate at this point. I have no clue what they're going to do with Brock Purdy at this point, but after watching the quarterback market today, they might have to. I think I believe the Gary Dulac report. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to be a Pittsburgh Steelers. Excuse me, I'm adding too many plurals. Is going to be a Pittsburgh Steeler.
I don't care about.
We've got goodbye Sam Darnold up to the northwest to do I don't know what. And Justin Fields, I guess Jeremy and I were joking about this before the show, but I guess Aaron Glenn got so tired of Justin Fields running on his defense. He's like, you know what? I'll take it.
Yeah. Listen, I don't want to start any rumors or anything, but do you think it's a coincidence that both Lions coordinators went and got themselves a mobile quarterback? Maybe both were just sick of having this pocket quarterback that couldn't make plays out of it.
That was my line. How dare you?
It was my line. I was making that joke.
No, you were trying to do a much more obtuse joke where you're like, he's going to get up there and be like, yeah, just, it's something I haven't had before. You're trying to really go Ben Johnson on it.
That's right. That is what I'm saying. If he goes Ben Johnson like that, dude, does everyone turn on him like they've turned on Ben Johnson? I do think that Sam Darnold in Seattle is going to be a disaster. That's
going to be a nightmare. I actually don't completely hate Justin Fields with the Jets. I kind of see the vision.
Yeah, I mean it's low risk, medium reward. I wouldn't say it's high reward.
It's fine. It's like what, a 2-year deal. The only quibble I have with this is like $20 million a year. But like, if you're looking for a physical guy and you're going to run your offense with Tanner Engström to do kind of a run heavy short pass, like I mean he still holds on to the ball a ton, but if you can beat that out of him, like that'll hold you over until you can find a good quarterback class.
He wasn't
because this isn't one
with the Steelers last year. Like there were some good moments.
Sure, but he still didn't play. They still pulled the plug on him for Russ.
But I don't know if I feel like a lot of people didn't agree with that decision at the time, and I was kind of one of them. But I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see. I mean, that's kind of the fun with the Jets. Like first time OC, first time head coach. I don't know what anything they're going to do is going to be. I do think like the demise of the 49ers might be real here.
Definitely. But really quick, it's fascinating to me how different of a situation that Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn are walking into. Like now Ben Johnson is going to have like serious year one expectations because that team was way better than the record was last year. He even went on, he said that. And now they go on the shopping spree. They have an offensive line now. They still have offensive weapons. Their defense was fine last year. And now has a couple more pieces on the defensive line.
How did he get Brian Poles to actually spend money on an offensive line? I want to know that.
It's part of the interview. Like if you want me, you better open up them pocketbooks, not just for
Kevin
me.
Kevin Warren put down the foot. Yeah.
But like, I think Aaron Glenn probably has a couple years like leeway here.
Yes.
At least if the Jets are smart, which.
Well, it's also it's New York. I don't know how much leeway you really have with any New York team, but
it's very interesting because
I
tried to warn Jets fans like if you guys think Aaron Glenn is just going to turn it around in year one, like I think I think he's gonna dig a hole in that trench before he fills it back up.
Yeah. Want to get some alerts, or?
Oh yeah, let's do that. You guys did some things. Let me scroll down and get to them.
We actually have quite a few people here today.
SV Champs. What?
Monday.
I never see our numbers anymore because I'm using a different software, so I hope they're good. SV Champs, thank you for the follow. J Pook, 29 months subscribed on Twitch. Jack Churchill, 7 months subscribed on Twitch, says 7 more draft picks for Draft to cook with after he does some magic with our current 6 picks. Maybe.
By the way, can we stop talking about the compensatory picks? I'm so tired every time.
Well, let me provide some clarity because there was some weird misinformation out there. The Lions are currently set up to earn 0 compensatory picks based on free agency so far because the Carlton Davis and the DJ Reed deals cancel each other out completely.
I'm just tired of always getting the question, what does this mean as far as compensatory picks? I don't care. I will never care.
People really like those picks from 100 and later.
But like the obsession of it that like you lose a guy and you should be immediately rewarded for it. Like I don't like the system, to be frank. But whatever. Anyway, go on.
Oh yeah, there you go. Chase Young staying with the Saints. So the one person in the chat was like, "Why do you keep not mentioning Chase Young?" It's because I don't think he's a very good player, and I didn't want him here personally. And is it impacted by that one play that he had against the Lions in the NFC Championship game when he was with San Francisco? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Where he dogged it and just walked in and let Jahmyr Gibbs run in. But anyways, compensatory picks, yeah, whatever.
You want to talk about a I've never seen this money for a long snapper. Colts gave a long snapper $1.6 million.
What? Hold on. Veteran Dan Skipper back to the Lions on a 1-year deal.
All right, I got to restart the recorder.
Skip back. No, we don't have to record anything on Dan Skipper.
No, why? Oh, hold on. That is Mr. Reporting as eligible. Fuck you.
He's the guy. He's the reason why fans are stupid and cheer when the offense is about to snap the football. It's not. I mean, it's not his fault. Technically,
Jared Goff.
No,
Stop
Goff. Cheering when 70 is reported as eligible. If there's one message I can impart to Lions fans. All right, now I do need to write this now though.
Sure. You want me? Where'd you lead off? I can read the rest of the alerts at least on Twitch.
That's a good idea. Where
were you?
Got to Jack Churchill.
Jack Churchill. Let me find Jack Churchill. Excuse me 1 second, and I'll take over where Jeremy can't because he's such a slave to his writing. Chocobo Brisket Bowl, 53 months. Spoonful of peanut butter for the hiccups. No, I'm good. Just need some water. Water and pinch your nostrils. That's what I was always taught. Alien Vivitor, 48 months. Been with us for, resubscribed for 6 months. Been with us for 48 months. Wizard 70 with us for 48 months, saying in loins we trust. That's right. Go loins. We love the loins. Like Jack Churchill. D Lions for life, resubscribing using their Prime subscription for 14 months, which is always a reminder. If you have Amazon Prime, you can link into your Twitch account. If you are on Twitch, you get a free subscription. You have to manually resubscribe each month, but we do hope you spend it on us because that would be nice and lovely. That's always fantastic. AP Durag. Been with us for 11 months, saying a little risky with that wording, Chris. I really wish I remembered which wording that was. I regularly have slips of the tongue all the time. My tongue just slips all over the place.
Okay, that's weird. I don't like you saying that.
I was giving the pause for someone to clip that.
You can slip me
Chris understood. I don't know if I understood the reference, Drew Falcon. I just read it and it kind of made me giggled. I know PK'd very well. That's all. Let's see here. Duck Lion 33, been with us for 26 months, saying, it's my Gibbs-iversary. That's what we should do instead of babies. If you hit like a Lions jersey number with months, I think I could appreciate that. Thomas J. Hutchins, been with us for 25 months. Let's see. Scroll up, scroll up. Cold Phone, been with us for 8 months using their Prime subscription. Chaos Cam 7, Prime subscription, 13 months, saying DJ Readerist coming soon. Readist. See, you spell it with an A in there, but like we've got READ, REED, so now we need an REID. Est.
I don't like that.
There we go. That's how we do all of it. And Soulful Break, resubscribed using Prime for 18 months, 34 months for Your Boy Maroc. More emergency PODs, he says. Hey, you give us some more emergencies, we'll have more PODs. Would also help if, we juggle a lot in our lives too, but we're always around. Buckeye734, 5 months for using their Prime subscription. Fields is still a lot to pick at this point. Yeah, it is a project, but I do think the quarterback market right now is involving like a swap of Dorian Thompson-Robinson and a pick with Kenny Pickett. Like that's where we are at as soon as Sam Darnold got signed. There ain't much on this bone. There's really not this is not last year where there were some very intriguing quarterbacks we had on the free agent open market. Not like there always is, and I think some people have kind of let that go. And like, there's quarterback needy teams this time of year. We have more chairs than we have people doing musical chairs, is what I'm saying. Like, there's just simply not enough quarterback to go around right now for some teams that are really staring down the barrel. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend like Justin Fields is a diamond in the rough. But I think for the other options facing the New York Jets, that's probably the best one they had. That's probably the best one they had. Like I would take Fields over Russell Wilson at this point. Definitely they're not having Aaron Rodgers back. I'd still take it over Sam Darnold. Nick the Greek 100 bits saying, does DJ Reed have a secret injury or just a bad agent? I thought all the ring whoring didn't start until at least age 32 for CBs. JT Sam 30 months saying, woo, 30 months. Also, Tunsil trade is wild. Did you see that trade at all today, Jeremy?
I saw that there was like a billion picks in it, and I just
saw a package of picks. I didn't see. Let me see how many picks went in the Tunsil trade. I did see some people are saying Najee Harris is going to the Chargers, which is very interesting. Wow. It's always a good time to remember that Laramie Tunsil's stock dropped precipitously because of the gas mask bong. But let's see here. So Washington will send 4 picks to Houston, a 3rd, 7th rounder in 2025, and 2nd and 4ths in 26, and the Commanders also receive a 4th round pick for 2025, along with Laramie Tunsil. So, yeah, that was a pretty interesting one. Sundog, 26 months. Long time no see, fellas. I'm all the way back in. Brad Holmes and the Mad Villainy has begun. Yes, sir. And we are all caught up, unless I missed anything from the year terb.
I will check on that in a minute.
Yeah. Well, while Jeremy is still writing, I'm going to try to take some looks here at chat, see if we can find some other stuff to talk about. Ben Johnson couldn't steal Skipper. That's the big story. All right. If you can handle the gas mask bong, your stock should go up. It should. That was like... I don't think we ever got clarity on that story. I always remember that story from the draft. That was a, night of the draft, someone releases that video on social media. And I think at that point, like, I don't think that kind of picture these days would scare off teams. But I think of how close it was to the draft, it stun-locked people. And before you know it, he dropped to the Dolphins, I want to say, is where he went. Yeah, that's what I had heard. Jaden 74. Like, it definitely had seemed like that was like some sort of family member or someone with some sort of grudge they weren't getting. That was always the rumors. That was someone like, yeah, I don't know. Now you can just blame it on AI. Sure, yeah. That was like the first I was hacked, I remember, in the NFL. Let's see here. We got plenty to do. He's not very. Do you guys see any chance the guys like Skipper or Davenport get cut after the preseason?
Skipper, sure. Davenport, probably not. Davenport's entire salary is guaranteed, and I know it's not much. It's like 135.
Yeah. Do we have numbers yet on Skipper, or
I
is it
see
just kind
none of them. I haven't looked back on Twitter, but
yeah. Okay.
Just a 1-year deal. That's all we know.
I don't think Jeremy's back yet. And this is a problem because I'm starting to run out of stuff unless you give me some questions, because otherwise I might start talking about Death Stranding 2. And I don't want to do that.
Mention food.
Mention food, that's always where we start to jump the shark.
Trey Hendrickson is not going. I mean, he's going somewhere probably. He's going to get traded, but he's not going to get traded. You all gotta
3 years, $51 million for Chase Young.
What? What?
That's just what someone said in chat. Let me hold on. That's just someone in chat. Let me see what the contract are.
That's
per
terrible.
rap sheet per Rappaport, 3 years, $51 million.
I didn't want any piece of that.
Oh my
This is
god!
what I'm talking about, guys.
A chance to get to $57 million.
No. Who are my editors? Oh, Zach, that's one. There we go.
I thought the Saints didn't have any cap room anymore. Like, okay.
They're only allowed to spend on bad contracts.
Najee Harris, by the way, is getting a 1-year deal worth up to $9.25 million.
I don't care about running back contracts.
I know.
Not a need.
I'm actually surprised. I thought Najee was pretty good. But, like, I mean, hey, I will, that's pretty good for the Chargers. I don't know how to feel about the Chargers yet this free agency period. I'm still trying to suss them out. Big for them to get back Khalil Mack, I will say. They had around $38 million, but they are restructuring Carr to give them like $30 million in relief. Yeah, that sounds about right. That's right, because they converted all of like Carr's contract, I believe, which was 100 bits from Nick the Greek, who asks, if you had to estimate what percentage of your body mass was GMO-laden fast food, what percent would you guess ideally apportion it among fast food brands? I'm not going to do that. I have been I have not been eating great just because I've been working a lot, but I have been boxing like 60 minutes every night, and I'm trying to take it even higher.
Is this like a video game boxing, or like are you going to like a boxing?
Yeah. I feel a little bit of a shame to say it. It is a there was a sale the other week, and Nintendo was getting rid of their gold points program, so I had everything to buy this basically for free. But it was way down, and it's called Fitness Boxing Fist of the North Star.
Here's my take.
So,
if you're getting exercise, no one should judge you on how you're getting exercise.
Well, I always thought it's a good start for me, and then if I'm really into it, which I have been really into it, maybe I'll pursue like an actual trainer at some point. Friend also convinced me to buy the Ring Fit for the Switch, but like
that looks fun. I saw someone play that. That looks fun. I almost wanted to get a Wii just to get that game.
He was like, it's an actual game to it as well.
Right.
Like it's actual like game with it. But yes, like a lot of people saying fitness boxing rules. Yeah, it kicks my ass. I sweat like a dog during it, and it's still I've been doing it for like I think 2.5 weeks now, and it's now hitting me with like the body jabs and body uppercuts and stuff, and like now my hips are like and knees are starting to really just get yeah. But yeah, no, that's kind of what I'm trying. So
Good for you, man.
I want to sweat. I just play COD. Yeah, I can't do that. Yeah, Atomizer, I think I'm up to like a 10-day streak on it right now. Like I did it for a couple days and then like every limb in my body hurt like hell. So I had to take a break for a couple days and I was still like getting walks. I think one of those days I walked out to like the beach in Malibu, which turned out to be a very interesting day because I came upon like a sick sea lion and I had to like call in wildlife rescue and wait out there for them. But as soon as I got my legs and arms back, I'm going right back. I'm not at a unit yet, Pook, but I'm trying to like trying to chart my entire thing. Trainer, I haven't done any of the game mode on it. I'm just doing Kenshiro on Fist of the North Star. Although I do have him in the sleeveless "You Are Already Dead" shirt. Sorry, back to football stuff. And here I am ruining all of it by drinking a Mai Tai.
Nick the Greek 100 bits says, if Chris Protect gains 30 pounds of muscle and becomes a juice head, I will admit that there can be a full-blooded Italian from Toledo. Until then,
let me tell you something.
Irish.
You want to talk about old boxing gyms? Toledo has a very old one, and I think it was I forget his first name. Easter Jr. I believe was one of the very famous he was like a lightweight guy, really fell off after a few fights, but like he was the pride for Toledo for quite a short period of time. Speaking of Toledo, the guy who was on my cover of my first Madden game, Madden 2001, is now the coach of a school in Toledo. Eddie George, Bowling Green.
Eddie George. What? Was he Tyler Roll?
Oilers and then Titans, yeah.
But I think there was like Tyler. I think he hired Tyler Roll for like 2 months, and then Tyler Roll jumped.
Might be because he was like coaching HBCUs. He was on that whole Deion Sanders train.
Yeah, Eddie George brought Tyler Roll over from North Dakota State to Tennessee State.
Yeah.
And then Tyler Roll was there for 2 months before he jumped to a D1 school, and I'm forgetting which team it was.
Toledo area, yeah, whatever. I'm
Iowa State.
It's all that same. It's still Lucas County. Anyway, sorry, I'm trying to get us back to football after that big boxing deviation. Yeah, I don't know. I'm having a lot of fun with it, and I'm just trying like hell to get my body back in life.
Jeremy Fowler is the one who reported the Dan Skipper is back, not Mike Payton. I mean, maybe Mike had it separately, but I think Fowler was the first one to report it. Yeah, no, it's fine.
Actually, I'm going to say it's Ari Myrov reporting it first. No, wait, he even says per Fowler. Okay.
Yeah.
I can't even do that. I can't even do that kayfabe. I'm looking at a spot track list here. Just catch up on the new ones. Another 100 bits from Nick the Greek. Looking at the edge market, do you guys think Zadarius was not a culture fit, or there was a holdout risk, or was the cap hit really unreasonable? The Chase Young contract seems insane compared to Z's 1 year left. Saints just being terrible? Question mark.
I don't know. We talked a little bit about Zadarius yesterday. Here's what I think you're getting in Zadarius: a 2-down guy who doesn't really run defend much, but is a decent pass rusher. And I'm not saying the Lions don't need that; they do. But I think they like their guys well rounded, and paying $11 million for that, I think, was not worth it to them. And I think you could also look at it like this: maybe they sensed the cornerback market was as expensive as it was, and they're like, we could use this $11 million. Granted, it's only five and a half this year, 5.5 next year, or whatever it is. But if you had to sacrifice Zadarius to get DJ Reed, is that worth it? To get a starting veteran corner on a multi-year deal, is it worth getting rid of Zadarius Smith? And I think it's a fair question to ask. And it's not like the Lions, and we have to, I think, continue to reiterate, it's not like the Lions are done at edge. They're going to add an edge. They're probably going to add 2 edges, or maybe an edge and a defensive tackle, or 2 edges and a defensive tackle. Like, they'll add there. It's just, I think they're going to have to add a stopgap on the defensive line, and maybe like a mid-tier guy instead of one of these top-tier guys, which is why in my predictions over at Pride Detroit Direct, I said both. Why can't I think of his name now? Because it's late and I don't podcast past 9:30 for a reason. Von Miller and the Bucks guy, Anthony Nelson. I think they could get both.
Sorry, let me just adjust. It's getting dark here, so I had to like adjust my. Speaking of, we don't do these too late. I had to readjust my gamma. Someone was asking about the draft, like who's the most well-rounded edge in the draft. Let me go look at the list again. I mean,
Draft questions.
I think the question isn't most well-rounded edge in the draft. You're going to be talking about the most well-rounded edge that you can get, because most well-rounded is probably Abdul Carter. But
Sure.
I'm trying to think.
The guy that I really like, that I think is like a Marcus Davenport clone, is Michael Williams from Georgia. That dude, long, his wingspan's 82.8, which is nuts. Like he's almost a level of Shamar Stewart, crazy athleticism, but he just didn't run at the combine. So I mean, he's probably not quite that athletic, but he's long, physical, big.
Someone I'm really kind of falling in love with. And to be honest, I have to probably watch a lot more tape of him, but like, and let me pull up his Raz card real quick. I just need to make sure I spell his name right, because it's absolutely one of those names that's going to destroy me every time. Let me find his draft card real quick. Sorry. Give me 1 second. Okay, yeah. I don't think he ran at the combine, so it's kind of an incomplete look on him, but you want to talk about like guy who can both run, defend, and spy quarterbacks well. Like that's Donovan Zeruaka? Raku?
I don't know.
Ezeruaku. Boston College.
Or is that how you pronounce?
Yeah, it's Ezeiruaku.
Oh.
Oh.
No, I say oh because Eric's thingy is not correct. It's in the way he's spelling his name. Maybe I erased it by accident.
Just what I've seen of him, at least in games, like just a more run defender, I would say, than pass rusher. But I mean, also is going to give you a lot of drops into coverage and do pretty well as well. So I mean, I think I have to. Izaraku. Yeah, Izaraku.
So
I watch Roku.
I wanna clarify this again because someone asked, and I think Lions fans. This is another thing where Lions fans are like, they're gonna break their back patting themselves on the shoulder a little bit over something that's probably not worth patting themselves on the shoulder a little bit. Again, pay attention to guaranteed money when you're looking at these contracts. It's kind of the only thing that matters until you can see the full extent of these contracts. Carlton Davis got $34.5 million. Is that right? $24.5 million? $24.5 million. That's not right. Is that right? No, that's not right.
Let me go look.
34 million. 34.5? 34.5 million guaranteed. Thank you, chat. DJ Reed
34.5, yes.
32. It's not that different. It's not that different. You're talking about 2.5 more million over 3 years. So I know it says he's getting 20 million a year. The Lions are getting Reed at 16 million a year. I think it's going to end up looking a lot closer. A lot closer. So just be happy the Lions got a guy on the same level. It is real money, but this idea that the Lions are getting a guy for $12 million less, I think is not an accurate way to depict the situation. Right? Like $4 million a year times 3. Who knows if either of those guys are even going to see the third contract, first of all, which is why you look at the guarantees to see how quickly you can get out. So it to me, it's just a matter of like, which one do you like more? Obviously, the Lions wanted Carlton back too, so there was a line that deal crossed, or Carlton was like, no thanks, I'd rather take this deal. I think it's unlikely that the Lions matched that offer, right? Because of what, I mean, Carlton made it very clear what his priority was this offseason, right? Made it very clear there was one thing that mattered to him the most this offseason. The almighty dollar. So if the Lions offered them the same deal that the Patriots did, I would have to imagine, loving Dan Campbell as much as he did, that would be the tiebreaker to bring him back. So there was a line that was crossed that the Lions weren't willing to pay Carlton Davis, that they were willing to pay DJ Reed. So I'm not saying that there's no difference in the contracts, but the idea that the Lions got a $12 million discount is not the truth. It's just not the truth. It's a way of manipulating numbers to make the Lions look better than the situation actually played out to be.
Yep. I'll throw another edge guy while we're sitting here talking about it. And I know his production at A&M did not stand out very well for Shamar Stewart. However, I do know Ken's talked about this, but like we've seen this before with like guys like Daniil Hunter doesn't have a ton of, production in college. I think Daniil Hunter only had 4 sacks in 3 years in his college level, but turned out to be fantastic at the NFL. But he graded very well at the combine, stood out very well in that regard. Again, these are guys I'm not looking for just the top guys who are going to be what you do in round 1. Because I feel like at this point, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot. We talk about this so many times, but there's a lot of ways the Lions go round 1, and who they get in round 2 and round 3 is almost going to be just as important.
We're already that desperate to move on to free agency to the draft, huh?
Well, I think there's just the reality of it. There's going to be certain positions you're just not going to adjust. Like any kind of edge solution in free agency, I think we talked about this before. It's going to be short term.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe he will, Nick the Greek.
We're not even. Yeah.
But I'm not. I just want everything to be reported accurate. Because I mean, listen, if you want the Kool-Aid, there are plenty of Twitter accounts out there that just give you the Kool-Aid, right? That are just like, oh, the Lions.
We've always tried to find that middle ground between Kool-Aid and doom.
And I'm not even saying it's doom. I'm just saying yes.
No, I'm just saying, but we just did a breakdown of why isn't Brad Holmes doing anything?
Right.
Fucking, we're not out here putting up AI photos of Brad Holmes as Drewski, unlike some other outlets out there.
Grok is maybe the worst thing that's ever happened to mankind. It's just this instantaneous AI imaging of whatever you want to click in there. No offense, Nick the Greek, but I did not need to see Tom Brady and Matthew Stafford skiing together. And the fact that you could produce that picture in seconds is offensive to me.
Hey, I don't mind that picture was produced. I just wish you had to pay an actual artist to do that.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Or put in the effort yourself into Photoshop.
Or just, even if you were just to do little stick figures on MS Paint.
That at least have soul. That at least has soul in it. That is
right.
The mankind creating a piece of art, which is a tale as old as time that venerates God in the act of creation versus just telling a machine to do it for you.
And I do realize there is a little bit of a old manny take to this, where it's
no, I've gone full fucking spiritual.
Bring back my typewriters.
I'm not even doing that because, man, there are some kids these days who can't even write a goddamn... I work with some people who can't even write a description for a podcast without using ChatGPT. That's like 50 words. They can't do it.
All right. I'm not interested in getting into a generational debate about any of this stuff, especially since I still got to.
No, I'm just saying AI sucks. It's not generational at all.
It sure does. All right. I think I want to get out of here.
Byron Murphy
Re-signs with the Vikings.
re-signed with the Vikings. Add this to the pile, Jeremy. 3 years,
Corners got
$66 million contract.
There you go. $22 million a year.
I have to see the guarantees on it still, but that's what Pelissero is saying right now.
Yep. Couple quick YouTube alerts. Mandy Morningstar, thank you for the follow, and Patrick Todor, thank you for the follow, the subscription, I guess it's called on YouTube. Subscribe. Click that bell.
Smash that bell. Ring the bell.
Notifications.
What's the Maxor thing? Click, subscribe, smash, follow, ring the bell.
What are you? Is this another? I need a.
My source is that I made it the fuck up. He's a great video game YouTuber. This is my problem. I play a lot of video games and like.
We just need a, not what's I was gonna say thesaurus. That's not the right thing. We need a.
You need a Wikipedia.
A Chris Perfett Wikipedia translator.
Perfettopedia. To get all of my references of a broken. I do have like internet rot brain. What
just
the
don't
Sigma?
go skibbity toilet on me.
Skibbity. You can just ask Rock.
Oh, God. All right. Let's
what can
do
you
this
ask
again.
Grok when X goes down again?
A perfectionary.
Perfectionary?
Not bad. That's not bad.
Do I need to
35
have like my own
million
special
guaranteed
segment?
to Byron Murphy.
Well,
So
sorry,
again,
how much?
actually not that much different. 35 million guaranteed.
All right.
Which means he's probably not going to see that third year. Depending on how it's structured. But that 35 million guaranteed on a $66 million contract is actually pretty low.
Yes, it is. But you want to talk about other teams who are kind of like screaming at, why aren't we doing a lot right now? I think the Vikings rank up there.
Maybe.
Definitely.
They have so
Who
many
is
of
it?
their own to take care of that it's not.
I know.
surprising.
Yeah, that's kind of their problem. But who was it? Who's the guy from Defector? Who's the big NFL writer who is a Vikings guy?
Oh, Magary.
McGarry. Yeah, Drew McGarry.
Drew McGarry.
Drew McGarry was definitely kvetching about, like, why aren't we
He's-
doing anything?
He's very reactionary.
I know I love him because he's just very negative. I mean, shit, the guy writes why
It's
your
fine.
team sucks.
It's
So-
fine. It's like, if that's your worst offense is that you're reactionary, fine. Not everyone has to
3
be
hours
the,
3 hours ago, real wet fart of a day for from the Vikings. It felt like watching them trade down.
my favorite team to follow during free agency is the Dallas Cowboys. Because they did absolutely nothing this year, and they did nothing today until they signed a running back to like a $3 million contract.
Today,
And I'm just like,
nothing will tomorrow.
This fan base has been like so pissed about them not doing anything, and the first move they pull out is a $3 million Javonte Williams running back deal, and I'm just like, that'll put the people at bay. And like,
but like at this point, we know what they are. I feel like I feel like if there is any team's fan base that gets gaslit on a 24/7 basis by the national media, it is the Dallas Cowboys, because they convince them all the time that Jerry Jones makes wonderful, insane deals and wants to win and will do whatever it takes to win. And all that really means is this doddering old man just sits around and re-signs his own guys. Also, not like they got a ton of money to really do shit with what they're giving Dak Prescott. And, oh, by the way, Guess who they still have to give money to? Micah Parsons.
Yep. They also extended their long snapper.
Cowboys haven't signed
Did
a
they
free
do that
agent for
today
more-
too?
What? Sorry, what's that?
Did they really
the long
extend their long snapper today
I
too?
think they did. Cowboys hasn't signed a free agent for more than $6 million since Greg Hardy.
Oh my god, that's fantastic. That it almost feels like they're trolling their own fan base at this point. If the two moves that they make on the day one of free agency is re-signing their long snapper and signing a $3 million running back, that
God,
is.
man.
Mwah. I almost respect Jerry Jones more than I ever have right now.
Aw, Oakland lost. R.I.P. the People's Team, Greg Campy.
All right, I'm getting out of here. I
think we're good.
I don't even know what I'm going to write up.
Let me
on.
ask you one last thing before we go. Sorry.
Sure.
Sources: Rams to release wide receiver Cooper Kupp if no trade happens. Yes or no?
No, Lions don't need that.
Thank you.
No. He's kind of
Washed.
He's kind of washed.
No, you don't need to do kinda. He's washed. I just took my car with the drive-through with the Premium Ultra, and it is not as washed as Cooper Kupp.
See, I ain't trying to shit on the guy like that.
I'm just laying truth.
Nah.
Because you know what today is about? It's about salt.
That right?
I don't even know why this is here. Cam
mean-
Morton's would do a lot better. But
Listen, I get the dot connecting. Like he's big. He could probably play the X. He obviously has played with Jared Goff for quite a long time, but it just seems like it's just not there anymore. It wasn't terrible. Like statistically, he was fine last year, but I don't know. When I saw him play, it just did not look like it was there. I don't know, and I also have no idea what he's going to cost, but I'm pretty sure you could get Tim Patrick back and be just fine, and get him back at a fraction of the cost. Like I really think Tim Patrick can come back for like $3 million a year.
yeah, big DMG1. You can't trust an owner whom gives Dak Prescott $61 million per year. Very big correction. Gave him $60 million per year. Big correction. Gave him $61 million. Just to one up the Deshaun Watson contract.
A bunch of Dak. I don't think Dak's that bad.
What?
I think the issues on Dallas run much deeper than their quarterback.
Oh, much deeper than Dak. Much deeper than Dak. Although I don't think he's helping him winning much. But yeah, sure. They've got a lot of problems. Part of that is like, what the hell does Dak have to work with? That run game was a war crime.
Garbo. It's been a long time. It's been way longer than the Cowboys have been accustomed to not have a running game, but it's bad. It's bad.
Yep. All right. You want to get out of here?
Yeah, let's get out of here. Maybe another emergency pod down the pike, although if I'm being quite honest, I think this was probably the biggest move they're going to make in free agency, because that's usually like they've only signed a 3-year external free agent contract twice before this under Brad Holmes, so this is just the third time. So there'll be some re-signings here and there. There'll be some external guys that are probably on 1 or 2 year deals, but
Okay.
I don't know if that's going to warrant an emergency pod.
Yeah, and tomorrow, and I've got like 2 days off, and then apparently I'm going to be the update anchor on Thursday and Friday during the herd.
There you go.
So
Go listen to
I
the
don't
Herd.
know what Fox Sports Radio affiliates will have it, but you might hear my voice, depending on where you're listening, about the conference tournaments for basketball and free agency moves for a couple hours.
There you go.
It's a big deal for me.
It's our little plug section. We don't normally have a plug section.
Yeah.
I like it though.
Well, I got to do it because I'm not, on that note, no Tiki Tuesday for me this week. So
Guys, don't worry. If the Wings are actually on Fox 2 tonight, aren't they?
they are.
I won't
on
watch. I won't watch. I'm going to write an article about Derek Barnes' contract and then go to bed. That's it.
Well, hold on. Where is it?
What?
Oh, I was just checking what the score was right now. That's all. Okay.
All right, y'all. Thanks for joining us tonight. We will see you again sometime soon, maybe a midweek mailbag down the pike here. But check out all of our other good stuff on YouTube. I already know Miko's got a reaction to the DJ Reed signing, so if you haven't watched that, as soon as this ends, go over there, go to youtube.com/@PrideOfDetroit. Go watch that.
This will be up shortly tonight. You should have it on your podcast feeds very, very soon.
Perfect.